This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Hamstead Gardens for game number 1 of this 10-game King of the Hill. It's not a best of series. We will get 10 games one way or another. And of course, the first of the 3 players participating in this King of the Hill in the north, playing the Traveler 59, this is Masterleaf. In the south, playing the Cyan, rocking the Nod. Just vanilla nod. This is Futurama. Futurama versus Masterleaf for game number 1. And the third player is BikeRush owns. So we do have 1 game guaranteed without BikeRush owns. And that, of course, does mean that whoever wins this will be playing against BikeRush owns, and the difficulty may indeed go up. Or BikeRush owns will be feeling bad, and the difficulty will go down. Masterleaf opening up with a fast leg descent rush. Engineer packed along for the fight as well. Could just be to grab that Tib Spike. Now this is Hamstead Gardens with a little bit of a modification. The Tib Spike has been moved from the far corner into a more manageable position. Buggies are here. One of the buggies possibly going to be diving onto the assimilator. They do not get the kill. Masterleaf is going to get the steal. No, yes, no, yes, yes. He gets the steal on the Tib Spike, and there's going to be the low power mode. A little bit of income stolen away from Futurama by Masterleaf. Back on the Masterleaf side of the map, we've got a Warp Sphere out. We've got Harvesters coming along. The rest of his build seems to be standard after this opening. One of the times where this rush has actually accomplished something in the last couple of years. Disintegrator rushes fell off because most players got good at defending them, so they just weren't nearly as effective as they were when they first became popular way back in, I don't know, 2012 or whenever, when they become really popular in competitive play. Of course, fast leg descent rush has been here pretty much as long as the game has been around. It's just whether or not people are able to do very much with it. MCV takes virtually no damage on the transfer down the hill, so Masterleaf does not try and dive on that MCV. And of course, he did steal that Tib Spike, but he kept most of his squads alive as well. So he's got a little bit of map presence, a little bit of map control on the south half of the map. Expansion may be a little bit slower for Masterleaf, not too much of a surprise. It is a huge income dump at the beginning of the game. You basically zero out your bank account going for this fast leg descent rush. And speaking of bank accounts, we have to give a big, huge thanks to Media Storm for sponsoring this King of the Hill show match. I almost said event. It's not really an event. It was just one day. These 3 guys got together. I kind of put together a little group chat, and no real restrictions on anything. I said no faction restrictions unless you guys agree to it. So if they all said, oh, we want to ban this, or we want to do some kind of fearless draft, that's fine. I just wanted these guys to play some games, give us some entertainment. And Media Storm, he is sponsoring $150. That is $15 per win. And of course, Bikey, old BikeRush, he kind of is at a disadvantage in that the most games that he could win would be 9. So in theory, Masterleaf or Futurama, one of them could go on an absolute tear and just win all 10 games, but no one else really has that opportunity. A couple of buggies coming in here, a couple of militant squads as well. Buzzers are packed along. They mostly get sniped, and the descents are now so weak that they really are not that much of a threat to anything. They might get a little bit of damage. Yeah, they do a bit of damage to a Nod power plant because they have so little health, so little armor, and then the rest of the game is going to probably be looking pretty normal from this point forward. Masterleaf has his natural expansion on the way. Of course, it is slow compared to Futurama, but that is to be expected. You gain that bit of early game control, and of course he's still got this Tib Spike ticking away, rocking that additional income for Masterleaf, and from this point forward, both players should be able to stabilize. Futurama has killed the immediate threat, and Masterleaf has transitioned down to his natural expansion. Couple of Scorpion tanks, couple of buggies onto this high ground in the center. A couple of Seeker tanks will be meeting them. Seekers versus Buggy Scorp, a classic Scrin versus Nod unit composition matchup. Nerve Center is up, second War Factory out for our Scrin player as well, and that's before his fourth refinery. So a little bit of a focus on tech rather than income. And again, the awkwardness of the start can lead to some slightly different builds. Ichor Seed does get deployed in the main base, so Masterleaf is able to extend out his main base income a little bit longer with the use of that tier 2 Ichor Seed. So huge thanks to MediaStorm for putting up the money. I keep getting interrupted in my explanation of MediaStorm. Tier 3 out before 4th refinery, so it really is a focus on tech, which if you're not super familiar with Kane's Wrath, Scrin factions are one of the factions that will one base tech all the way to tier 3. Pretty much no other faction will do that in a competitive game, but you can get away with it with Scrin. So seeing a fast tech off of 1.5 bases really isn't that crazy. We do have a little bit of a base trade going on. Not exactly a base trade, but we have harassment happening on opposite sides of the map. 4th refinery coming up. Harvester going to be going down in the south. Meanwhile, in the north, the Scorpions and the Buggies trying to trade with those forces at the natural expansion of Leaf. Leaf would love to get that second Harvester, but he just doesn't manage it. A lot of lost mining time on the side of Futurama, but ultimately not a lot of losses. First tripod is out. Storm Column is here as well. Harvesters are looking happy and healthy on both sides of the map, so the trade at the natural expansion has come up largely empty for both players. MCV almost moving towards the third base, but not quite getting all the way there. Tier 3 is up for our Nod player as well. Futurama slowly working his way towards his third base. And of course, here on Hamstead Gardens, we do have the 3 bases per player. A nice arrangement there of Tiberium, but your third base is a little bit open and exposed. It really is a nice main natural setup, and then your third base is a little bit more risky to be able to take. Buzzers skirting away in the south. Wormhole onto the other side of the map, and here comes the lasers as Masterleaf takes the one moment of calm in the game to go on the attack, but it is almost a trap more than it is an attack. Laser capacitors finishing up in the closest moment there, just in the nick of time as the mine drop comes in as well. Futurama's income is solid enough that he was able to deploy that mine drop at a moment's notice. He had enough cash sitting in the bank, and this Scorpion army that has been building over the course of the game now features laser capacitors, and that is not what Masterleaf was expecting. I think Masterleaf assumed it was a third base and less production, that cash was, instead of being spent on Scorpion tanks and upgrades, was being spent on a third base. And now the Scorpion tanks are going to be rocking into the base. A couple of Venoms are here as well in case any descents make an appearance. The Crush is going to be coming in, but this is so many Scorpion tanks. It's going to be the Overlord's Wrath landing. A lot of these Scorpion tanks on the front line very low on health. They get popped one after the other. A couple of Engineers here on the front line to reclaim those husks. But the Scorpion tank reinforcements coming in one after another, and the husks have largely fallen. The Engineers giving a second life to the army of Masterleaf just did not happen. One tripod here from the high ground, but it's not going to be enough to turn this fight. The damage has been done. The tech is gone, although the Nerve Center has survived, so only the Tier 3 got eliminated. Tier 3 and 1 War Factory. Masterleaf, if he was able to crush this army, he would be able to transition out of this. Black Hand Squad's coming in, militants as well. It's a bit of an infantry transition, and Masterleaf going for the double plasma missile battery. He thinks Venoms are going to be the follow-up, but it just hasn't happened. What has happened is a fully heroic laser capacitor Scorpion blasting away at the base of Masterleaf. Forced to retreat to the high ground, these units are going to be finding the remnants of Masterleaf's main base, and it will get cleaned up here. A couple of descents set to the high ground, but that's not going to be enough If Masterleaf had been able to crush that Scorpion army, things could have been different, but that damage coming in with the Scorpions, the 1-2 punch of knocking down the tripods and following it up with the kill of the tech meant that Masterleaf had no chance to hold the line. Futurama gets 15 bucks to his name and a shot at knocking down BikeRush Owns. The map is Toxicity, the battleground for Game 2, and the first meeting of these two players. Playing GDI, rockin' red, this is BikeRush Owns. And on the right side, the current king of the hill. Can he stand up against the new challenger? This is Futurama. Going with Scrin. Goes from Nod to Scrin. Futurama, he's a player who is powerful on all three factions, and I feel like we have seen many good Scrin games from him in the past. I was trying to think back to the Winter Championship last year on which faction he actually played most, but I just don't remember him playing a ton of Scrin. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm just misremembering it, but we're going to get to see his Scrin here versus the vanilla GDI. Of course, the map Toxicity. It is a completely vertical set of expansions, but this third base going onto the high ground on the far side of the natural, it is a long walk, whereas this walk to your natural expansion, it's short. You even have this little cutout, which you can stick a refinery there, and you have a nice little pocket for your refinery to sit in. A couple of riflemen coming in for the early scout. Looks like BikeRush Owns is happy to play this one out standard. This is right down the middle, macro-oriented play from both players. BikeRush Owns getting a little bit of an income boost in the first couple of minutes. He got to the 3.4K per minute, a little bit faster than Futurama, but Futurama should eclipse that in the next minute. And yeah, Futurama starting to pull ahead in the income per minute. Not anything for anyone to worry about at this point. The rifle scout from BikeRush is good, and he's returning with a second rifle scout just to keep eyes on Futurama. 1, 2, 3 APCs, it looks like it's going to be for BikeRush Owns. He could also go for a fourth APC, stick the rifleman inside of that. Might go pit bulls after that instead of more APCs. Or if he wants to be really greedy, just go straight back into harvesters. First refinery up at the natural expansion. The timing's very similar to that. Futurama about one load of Tiberium ahead of BikeRush Owns at the natural expansion. Harvester coming in for BikeRush Owns. He's got the rifleman scouting through the middle, and he's got the slightest amount of pressure with these APCs. We never expect the APCs to get anything done, but when they do get something done, it's always nice to see. A couple of mine drops being deployed. Yeah, they get cleaned up. No easy damage there for BikeRush Owns, but Bike does have the perfect scout timing on this descent drop from Futurama. That was... you couldn't have asked for better timing, really, with that. BikeRush Owns, perhaps a little bit lucky, perhaps a little bit skilled to get the timing on that so perfectly. He knows the descents are coming across the middle of the map. He did not see the nerve center, though. I don't think he quite realized that it is a tech over economy choice by Futurama. I think he's going tier 3. There it is, already up and researching. So the tier 3 before that fourth refinery for Futurama. His income is just fine, though, just like with Masterleaf in that last game, except for Futurama's even further ahead because he didn't do the early game descents. So he is just fine with this faster tech from Scrin. AP ammo, 2/3 of the way done. We'll be finishing up quite nicely. First airfield is out for BikeRush Owns, and he's actually going to be going for a surveyor as well. So No MCV move for him. I don't think this is going to be a full sneaky surveyor to try and plant some kind of proxy somewhere on the map. It probably will just be a third base. Pressure is mounting. Futurama has his first couple of tripods out stomping around the map, but of course when you go for this fast tech, you do forego that second war factory. So your production isn't really skyrocketing. Your harvester production hasn't been necessarily as fast as it could have been, and now Futurama is getting ready to power up. As long as he can have, I don't know, 2 minutes or so, one harvester down, second harvester gets eliminated, and maybe an extra couple of rockets get wasted there, but a third harvester does take about half damage. So only 2 harvesters down for BikeRush owns, or I guess for Masterleaf, or for Futurama, and it's going to be straight to the warp chasm. We do not have a second war factory because we are right to the Eradicator hexapod, and this is where the timing starts working out for Futurama. He has bought himself enough time. He has got his Eradicator hexapod more than halfway done, and there isn't an easy option for BikeRush owns to just cancel that. If he had, you know, if he had a stasis shield, he could cancel it, or if he had gone for Firehawks immediately, then maybe he would be able to cut down that timing. But too little, too late, as the Eradicator hexapod steps out on to the map. Orca Strike may even confirm the timing there. Gets the sell-off, actually. This is a lean and mean game coming in here for Futurama. Phase on top of the harvester as well, so wasted rockets. And it looks like 1, 2 orcas at least will go down. A third orca gets eliminated, and the fourth will not escape. Masterleaf, it's not in this game. Keep bringing up Masterleaf for some reason. And BikeRush owns. He is happy to go for the high ground expansion. Second war factory in the south. Refineries there as well. BikeRush owns. He is focused on that southern expansion. A couple of hammerheads coming out. Futurama, he's got 15 bucks to his name, but he'd love to have 30. He'd love to have a shot at 45, and the mastermind timing could not have been worse. Sometimes these little things just work out for a player. BikeRush owns gets the perfect timing on spotting that mastermind. Futurama able to hold off any kind of pressure from Bike for the first couple of minutes. He got out the Eradicator hexapod. He's got his third base up, rocking and rolling with one refinery in the south, and he is feeling pretty good. This is a lot from BikeRush owns. Is he going EMP grenades? He's already got EMP grenades. He's got railguns as well. This is a lot of grenadiers. I have not seen someone build so many grenadiers in a long time. If these EMPs land, this is going to be just the easiest shutdown by BikeRush owns. If the EMPs land and he is able to just kind of neutralize this entire army, it could just be not even a fight. Whereas right now, the Eradicator hexapod, the Futurama actually doesn't have a lot of cash in the bank. It's a little bit worrisome not having a lot of cash in the bank, but he could cancel some things, sell off some structures, and get some cash for a stasis shield, or if he wants to call in Overlord's Wrath or whatever else he might be thinking. BikeRush owns just says, I'm not gonna fight your army. He just goes north. He completely negates the army and says, yeah, we're not fighting on your terms. We are just gonna go straight for your base. Futurama moving in. Can his tripod wall find the perfect angle? 4 mammoth tanks get caught in the stasis there, and he gets the cleanup there. Juggernaut coming in. One Juggernaut is exposed. MCV is here as well. Infantry on the north side fighting against those tripods, but that's not going to work. And BikeRush owns rolling in. The Mammoth tanks are going to come back online. Zone Troopers into the front line. They get immediately cleaned up. Buzzer Hives are here as well as engineers to try and reclaim these husks. BikeRush owns almost getting surrounded. His Mammoth tanks getting desperately close to killing this Eradicator, and there it goes. The front line has held. BikeRush owns needs to crush these tripods, and the focus fire will shut them down. Without the Eradicator threatening this army, the tripods don't have the same kind of power. The triple barracks zone trooper turns out to be the game-winning move as the GG comes out and Futurama has been defeated. That triple barracks production is not what I expected to see from an MCV move into the natural expansion of Futurama. BikeRush owns, I thought, was just going to go for the classic Juggernauts and, well, I guess Mammoth Tanks were there as well, but Juggernauts and Sonic Emitters. But no, it was triple barracks zone trooper to deal with those tripods, and that will do it for game number 2. BikeRush owns puts a point on the board. And that sends us to Tiberium Rift for game number 2. Between this guy in the north, his second shot. This is Masterleaf. Whoa, I always forget about the super zoom on this map. And the second shot for this guy as well here in game number 3. This is BikeRush owns. Marked of Kane versus GDI. So plain old vanilla GDI, 2 games in a row for BikeRush owns. And the first match between Bike and Leaf. Leaf going heavy infantry start. That is a lot of awakened squads right from the beginning. We'll see what he's actually able to do with them, what he chooses to use them for. I feel like we don't normally see nearly as many awakened squads at the start of a Marked of Kane game. You did have to spend quite a bit to get them out. We'll see if the EMPs are worth it. Of course, depending on what you build as a response to this, the Marked of Kane are pretty good at killing light vehicles, so those awakened squads do surprising damage to EMP'd buildings, or EMP'd light units. MCV going to take a little bit of damage. What is Masterleaf's plan here? Because he did slow down everything about his economy quite a bit. All right, here's the sell-off of the watchtower for the APC. No, he's going to repeat EMP. Okay, that's without shutting down the MCV. Yeah, you just get the second watchtower out. And now the riflemen inside of the APC will continue firing even if the APC gets EMP'd. So 2-3 EMPs used, not much accomplished so far. Harvester gets caught. No, just another watchtower. All right, second APC gets caught, and the Harvester will absorb some of the attention here. Rifleman does evac just in time, and the Harvester absorbing another EMP here. Is going to be getting stopped from crushing anything, but will force Masterleaf away. I'm not sure that this is a very good opening. It seems like this opening is not cost effective. I'm not sure exactly what his plan was in terms of what he hoped to accomplish with these awakened squads, but whatever it is, it has not happened. Lost mining time on 2 harvesters. That one was sent the wrong way. So yeah, 2 harvesters, not a ton of hard working that those 2 guys are doing. They're harvesters, but they're just not harvesting. Masterleaf on the left side of the map. His natural expansion is coming up, but BikeRush is just a little bit ahead on income. And that's pretty much all that has happened from this opening. Again, maybe there was a more grand plan that was supposed to happen, but we did not get to see that version of it. So it's almost 4 minutes into the game, and we're just going to settle into the well-worn paths of GDI versus Marked of Kane that we have seen before. From this point forward, it should be a pretty normal game. BikeRush owns goes for the blue Tiberium in the middle of the map. Bikes and Pitbulls trading back and forth. Harvester gets away. No chase, no damage. So, yeah, the first Harvester, not necessarily super efficient to send it. Well, it's not the first Harvester, but the first, like, natural expansion Harvester, not necessarily super efficient to send it off like that, but, it's not the worst thing in the world either. double refinery at the natural expansion for both players. BikeRush owns is doing just fine. Masterleaf has stabilized in terms of income, total resources gathered, and he's going for the Hand of Nod. In the south, he's got himself that Hand of Nod, pumping out a couple of rocket troopers. Secret Shrine gets added on as well. Cybernetic Legs or Tib Infusion, either one is a good choice. And I'm sure BikeRush has something cooking on the other side of the map. Maybe just airfield? Just an airfield? Yep, command post, but does he go airfield or does he go tier 3? That's a lot of... Okay, they are, some of them, decoys. They are not all real bikes. So they are not all a real threat. Okay, Cybernetic Legs have finished, and we got ourselves some Enlightened out onto the field. Not a ton, but a couple of Enlightened. They will certainly deal with pit bulls quite easily. APCs, they don't have AP ammo yet, so they don't have that extra damage boost that helps them deal with those high-tech later game infantry like the Enlightened. And with Cybernetic Legs, they are surprisingly fast. Still no AP ammo for these APCs. EMP catches 3, and it looks like the other ones will escape for now. Second EMP just to help lock down these guys. And the last of those APCs that were shut down get eliminated. BikeRush going straight for the Harvesters. Pit Bulls jumping their rockets into those Harvesters, but of course this is an empty main base, so it is not a huge detriment to Masterleaf's income to lose one Harvester on a field that's already expired. Always nice to keep all of your Harvesters alive, transfer them, get your third base up and running faster, but losing one, certainly not the end of the world. Masterleaf, worried about his late game transition. BikeRush has the power of GDI on his hands. He has the power of those juggernauts with the sonic emitters. Ooh, no refinery for even one of these Harvesters to deposit their Tiberium at. So I am worried about Masterleaf's late game transition as we climb towards the 10-minute mark, what he is going to choose to do as we are looking towards the third base of these players. BikeRush for now, we have not seen the big transition into Juggernauts. He is still producing Predator tanks, and he has foregone the Tier 3, and instead he has just stayed on this Tier 2 for the current moment. He's got his refineries up at his third base. Instead of going for a tech lab or a tech center, he has gone for more economy. EMPs land, and no real consequence here. Sniper team's getting a couple of shots. This is where things get troublesome for Masterleaf. BikeRush has chosen his economy, and he still has a low-tech but high damage output army amongst all of these units. He can deal with a lot. BikeRush swinging down to the south. Mine drop comes in. Might delay the army a little bit, but this MCV is also out where it would like to have some friends along with it. BikeRush's army gets split in half, and, well, they may not be able to take down that Conyard super quickly, but BikeRush is also just buying more time for him to do whatever he wants. In this case, it is going to be a second refinery. We have to have Tier 3, right? Still no Tier 3 from BikeRush. Reinforcements getting called in. It has to be now, though, right? There we go. Railguns, now a possibility. Juggernauts, sonic emitters, mammoth tanks, all a possibility. And as those late-game possibilities open up, BikeRush finds himself with a very calm mid-game. He had to deal with some early aggression from Masterleaf. And then Masterleaf cooled off, and BikeRush did his own little tiny attacks here and there, and then BikeRush cooled off, and they've both just been posturing. So, a potentially aggressive start, and then just a slow down from there. Two avatars are here. The army chooses not to engage. They definitely could have punched through those avatars, but they were worried about what maybe was behind. 2 harvesters low on health. They go down. The refinery gets eliminated as well. And BikeRush owns worried about Venoms or Vertigos or something from Masterleaf. He's worried about some kind of aircraft coming in and dealing with his harvesters. Tip core missiles means that that's a 3rd dead harvester. 4 bikes getting capped there in the natural expansion of BikeRush owns. But you'll trade 4 bikes for 3 harvesters, especially when 2 of them are on the front lines. A second harvester, or another harvester, goes down on the front line here at this 3rd base. There's the AA battery coming into play. It shoots at that Vertigo, and the Vertigo is like, okay, I'm fine. I will fly away, drop my bombs, and escape to home. A couple of enlightened squads are here. A massive mixed army from BikeRush owns. Infantry, vehicles, even some tier 3 juggernauts mixing their way into the army. And railguns coming in. So we have those late game upgrades finally being realized, and BikeRush's 3rd base is completely exposed, but this army cannot be denied. This is a huge force here in the south. Masterleaf is going to have to answer this, and I just do not know what he could possibly come up with to try and answer this much firepower. He needs way more EMPs than he has. Tip Vane detonation is going to be the first step. It will delay this attack. Vertigo Bombers, a good choice as well. Unfortunately, they were not able to snipe very many units. War Factory onto the front lines means that this is a long-term play for BikeRush owns. He has got himself a mobile or a frontline repair center. Mines get dropped on top of the infantry. Not too big of a deal. Juggernaut's starting to wail away at those obelisks, and the first couple of obelisks falling. Harvester gets eliminated. EMP lands on a big cluster of APCs, but where's the DPS to actually do something with that? It's going to be one more avatar taking a ton of damage. Harvesters once again being sent to the front lines, and the front line has not been shaken. Masterleaf cannot deal with these juggernauts forever. Vertigo's coming in. One of them gets sniped before anything happens, but the Venoms are going to find 2 kills before they get chased away. Another harvester goes down. 2 juggernaut husks ready to be reclaimed by BikeRush owns. And the trouble is not necessarily the ground army. It's the fact that BikeRush owns can sit behind with these juggernauts for as long as he wants. The answer is starting to come in. Spectres are here for Masterleaf. 2 of them, 3 of them onto the front line. That is a huge help, and they arrived just in the nick of time. BikeRush owns did not go super aggressive and try to break the front line, so Masterleaf now has an opportunity to get his own artillery up and running. Avatars are here, and BikeRush owns says, well, maybe one gigantic army in the south isn't the play. Maybe the real play is indeed a second army that is just the low-tech units split off from my main force, sent to the north. Harvesters getting back to work, and Masterleaf will have no answer to this army in the north that's going to come through and just cut a path through the heart of Masterleaf's infrastructure. His technology is about to be eliminated, and the Spectres, they're going to find a couple of shots here. They're going to find a couple of marks, but it won't matter when the rest of your base is leveled. Goodbye, main base. Goodbye, Tier 3 tech. Masterleaf has one army that exists on the map, and he will build no more because his entire tech path is about to be reset, and that will just be it for Masterleaf's production. Secret Shrine goes down. Power plants being popped one by one. The operations center after that. BikeRush owns didn't want to give us the big bloody fight on the front lines. He went for the backstab right down the corridor on the left side of the map. An EMP lands, but of course there just is no DPS. The expansion has been crushed. Railguns on these Predator tanks means 2 avatars is not a threat to be worried about. And BikeRush owns. He did not gamble on a front line offense. He instead made his own path to victory through the back door. Masterleaf able to hold one front, but not able to hold two fronts. The Northern War is what broke Masterleaf here in this game number 3. And BikeRush owns, unless Masterleaf pulls off some kind of incredible miracle hold, BikeRush owns is going to find himself with $30 in his bank account. Futurama maybe preparing for that next game versus BikeRush. Who does he, what faction does he want to play? What map does he want to play? Marv now out on the field. Masterleaf not throwing in the towel. He technically still has a war factory. He still has an economy. He's still bringing in, I don't know, 6K per minute or so. Supercharged particle beams purchased quite a while ago by Masterleaf. And I mean, it is a great upgrade. It's just perhaps too little too late. Masterleaf not able to move out of his base, really. He's got these avatars just walking around on the north. And the Spectral Artillery have sort of abandoned the front line. Juggernauts plus a Marv on the front line is a difficult combo to beat. So the GG comes in, and BikeRush owns gets the win here on Tiberium Rift. Masterleaf will get another chance, but first, it's up to Futurama to upset the apple cart and stop BikeRush from getting all the money. And that sends us to pipeline problems for game number 4. We've got in the north playing the red, playing the black hand. Kane first, it's BikeRush owns. Currently up 2-1 for this guy in the south. Returning to GDI, also Kane first. This is Futurama. Short and sweet or big and splashy. Oftentimes, pipeline problem games can be very short because of the accelerated economy that both players have access to via this blue Tiberium. Which again, if you are new to Kane's Wrath, welcome, welcome. But blue Tiberium is worth double. So even though this harvester is only 60%, 3/4 full, it's actually worth more than a full load of this green Tiberium. Not a lot of maps have blue Tiberium that spawns in at the start. Even fewer have blue Tiberium that is that close to where your main base starts. And it means that we can have these very fast rush games where the focus is about killing these 3 harvesters that are on the left side of the map. And if one player manages to do that early on, it is game over, because the slowdown of that blue Tiberium economy spells doom for the player who loses their harvesters. But in this case, neither player is going for anything too crazy in terms of trying to kill the other guy's blue Tiberium harvesters. And of course, this Kane gives you a second build queue, so you can deploy refineries and war factories at a faster than usual pace. But of course, both of these players just blowing through their early game income. They're both at over 10K of total resources gathered, even though we're only 2.5 minutes into the game. 14K to 13K, 2.5 minutes into the game. Absolutely accelerated for these economies. Both players are probably going to be focused on the right side of the map. If the game doesn't end early with some kind of big play on the blue Tiberium, then we typically see the game progress to end state armies over here on the right side of the map, in between the 2 third bases of these players. Rifleman should have spotted that flame tank. This is a black hand player with flame tanks, so no stealth, not any really aircraft to worry about either, but you do have to worry about those flame units. Would love if it was Purifying Flame. BikeRush, you're winning $15, but do it in style, and he doesn't. He's a coward. He sells off that secret shrine after he gets the Black Disciple upgrade. Laser fence immediately onto the con yard. The flame tank has been spotted. What is the plan to deal with them? It's a predator tank meeting that flame tank just in time. Beam cannon's the follow-up. Ooh, this is double beam cannon. So we can't see exactly what just happened, but what might have happened is BikeRush said, look, I'm going flame tanks, look, look. And one thing that we typically see in these flame-heavy matches is someone will go one flame tank and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus flame tanks, send them left, right, and center down the map, and one of them will break through your defenses and you will lose a ton of stuff to it. But instead, BikeRush has switched it up. He went double beam cannon production. He's got rockets and SAM sites to follow it up. So this is almost the opposite problem of hitting these high damage left, right, center, spread out forces. Instead, it is one solid laser beam that is focusing down your units. So instead of having a mobile army, you need something to smack down these beam cannons, and that is not what we're seeing from Futurama. He's got like one APC up here in the north, and that's about it in terms of the counter attack. It looks like he did keep his crane, so he's at least got that going on, but the front line has crumbled. BikeRush has turned this into a mid-game push. This is beam cannons, rockets, and SAM sites. This is not an end-game army. This is no Redeemer Avatar combo, not even Spectres for the artillery. It's just beam cannons, but he double-pumped those beam cannons, caught Futurama by surprise, and the flames were almost entirely a misdirect for game number 4. Futurama goes down quickly to the switch up of the beam cannons. BikeRush goes up 3 games in his pocket. If GDI is what is winning, then GDI is what we should choose here on Tournament Highlands. Not looking to do the same thing as everyone else, playing the blue, this is Masterleaf. Marked of Kane and a Shadow Team Rush. Hey, we all gotta try the GDI sometimes, and returning to GDI after his brief stint with Black Hand, it's BikeRush. All right. Shadow Team Rush. Masterleaf may not win this game, but he is winning the entertainment points with this Shadow Team play. I cannot remember. Oh, he also got fast legs. He got cybernetic legs so he can steal the Tib spikes. He can bomb out the building. Let's see if he decides to do it. And he can steal the Tib spikes. Okay, he's not going to bomb out the building. He was just waiting for the rifleman to exit to try and kill the engineer. And now, of course, BikeRush has to make a little bit of a choice. Do I try to go for the engineers and die to the Shadow Team? Or do I just let my Tib spikes get stolen? And the answer is he's going to let his Tib spikes get stolen. So Masterleaf, starting off from basically 2 minutes on, he has 4 Tiberium spikes. No engineer inside of that APC. He's just trying to hunt down these Shadow Teams. And of course, if they take to the skies, then they do die more quickly to the Pit Bulls. But they can sort of avoid the APCs because the APCs are a little slower. Engineer snipe, nice. All right, so that's about as good as you can ask for. The other engineer hasn't actually exited. BikeRush doesn't know exactly where the Shadow Teams are. That's why he's bringing the Pit Bulls. He has secured this one location, and he is now down another engineer. A difficult and awkward opening for Masterleaf to execute. He got about as good as you could ask for, considering he only went 2 Shadow Teams. He also spent the cash on the cybernetic legs, and just like in game number 1, he may be going for a sneaky engineer play. APC managed to catch up with the Shadow Teams, and he will get the kill there. BikeRush, he lost both of his Tib spikes, but only for about a minute, and now he has them both back. So a lot of players will get flustered in that moment. They will not be able to respond as appropriately. This would be such a sick play. No! BikeRush owns sees it coming, and unfortunately for Masterleaf, he loses the opportunity to get that refinery that almost worked out perfectly. Maybe an engineer just got sniped in that Tib field. I'm not sure. Masterleaf is trying the sneaky plays. And again, this is now just about a calamitous opening for Masterleaf. Oh no, he goes right by it. The early blue Tiberium steal in the south. That harvester shouldn't have been there. The normal timing would have that harvester there in like 1 minute, not right there. I mean, an early timing isn't that crazy of a thing, but again, the luck with the timings that we see from BikeRush owns, they are just perfect sometimes. And 3 or 4 times in this series, we have seen these timings for BikeRush owns be just absolutely perfect and benefit him in big ways. So he saved another Tib spike from being captured there. He didn't have to build another engineer to go and recapture it. But Scorpion tanks pushing in on the left side of the map. Pit bulls pushing in on the right side of the map. Engineers to the north, engineers to the south. Masterleaf is going to try and cause some chaos back at home. He's hoping he can defend with awakened squads and scorpions. 1 harvester down. The beginning of the game is not going in Masterleaf's favor, and I think that ball just crushed his own awakened squad. Adding insult to injury, the EMP catches the Scorpion and shuts it down for as long as the APCs are also shut down. An unfortunate turn of events for Masterleaf, and he just can't catch a break that he's looking for. Engineers getting stopped at every turn, it seems. And BikeRush owns pushing back the Scorpions on the left side. Every attempted sneaky play has been shut down. Engineer gets sniped in the north. BikeRush owns not letting any of it land. Masterleaf with sneaky tactic after sneaky tactic. And other than the surprise of the first 2 engineers stealing those Tib spikes of shadow teams getting the drop on BikeRush owns, he has caught and killed the remaining sneaky attempts. Checking in on the economy, Masterleaf doing a good job of staying even with BikeRush owns, only 5k behind in total resources gathered. One of the big differences is BikeRush owns has 2 refineries at his natural expansion. So while Masterleaf may only be 5k behind right now, he's about to be 10, 15, 20k behind. And if he doesn't have an answer for something like orcas, it is going to be an even harder road to try and come back in this game. Engineer rushing through the middle of the map, making a fool of the pit bulls, of the orcas, mocking them as he rushes to his destination. There is no one who can stop him except perhaps a hammerhead. Oh, the hammerhead cuts the wrong way. He catches a different engineer. There's one in every quadrant of the map, it seems. BikeRush owns, loses that Tib spike. Masterleaf gets another engineer in the middle of the map, but he gets another Tib spike on his team. Ludicrous strategies. Instead of flame tanks, which Mark of Kane doesn't have access to, Masterleaf is hoping... Oh, he's wasting rockets too. That's great for Masterleaf because not only does he spot the orcas, they just wasted a bunch of rockets. And there's a harvester. Turn. No, the watchtower has too good of range anyways. It didn't matter after all. Orcas moving across the map there on the right side. They catch themselves another harvester or 2. They add a couple of extra rockets, and they may be able to find these harvesters down in the south, but they won't get as much as they were hoping for. Blue Tiberium getting captured by Masterleaf. BikeRush owns maybe just going to escape with those orcas. Live to fight another day. Sniper teams coming in. Marv, 3/4 of the way done. BikeRush owns 2k in the bank. He's now 20 grand ahead of Masterleaf in total resources gathered. it becomes harder and harder to hold on when you're down 20k in less than 10 minutes. BikeRush owns currently sitting at plus 18k per minute, and that Marv is going to help that number go even higher. Every unit counts, and with so little anti-air, these retreating enlightened are prime targets for being picked off. Both Tib's bikes back now under the control of Masterleaf. I feel like BikeRush is normally the one who manages to sneak out a couple of engineers and steal away his opponent's Tib's bikes. EMP lands on 3 Predator tanks. No kill, though. A bad trade for Masterleaf, unfortunately. And the thing that beats Tib's bikes is good old-fashioned Tiberium harvesting, which is something that BikeRush has in spades. He's got enough Tiberium harvesting firepower to do whatever he wants. Ooh, Harvester gets revealed, but does manage to escape. Masterleaf moving forward with his entire army. Beam cannons, enlightened buggies, scorpions, a little of this and a little of that. Why not one of every kind, as BikeRush looks to take back both of his Tiberium spikes. He's already got one, and he's looking for the other. Enlightened head forward. EMPs could land, but it's going to be up to the DPS from behind the Enlightened to actually win this battle. The Orca Strike, I guess? Yeah, Orca Strike. Okay, so he tags his own Predator tank, but not much more than that. Beam cannons coming forward. EMPs, if there were more of them, they could stall this army out longer. Barracks comes in on the high ground. Masterleaf, with only about $1,000 in the bank, doesn't have a lot to hold on to this moment. Hammerheads coming in. Juggernauts are soon going to lose their front line, but there's no anti-air, so even if the beam cannons can kill the Juggernauts, the Hammerheads and the Orcas can slice and dice those beam cannons. Sam sights too little too late. It's over, baby, as the aircraft reign supreme for BikeRush owns. The Marv rolls in, the beam cannons fall, the last one goes down, and the MCV is the next target, but that is all. BikeRush owns increases his lead, and if you want to be the best, you gotta beat the best. In that case, it's BikeRush owns in this King of the Hill with 4 wins to his name. GDI own that storage container, but do they own this game? Well, the man who's looking to stop them is playing Marked of Kane. Actually, make that Black Hand. He's playing Black Hand in the south. This is Futurama. I completely misread his icon. It's very clearly a handprint, but I ignored that, and I said, I'm going to make up my own thing. Because in the north, playing the Steel Talons, this is BikeRush owns. All right. Futurama versus BikeRush owns. Futurama switching it up to Black Hand, the very thing that he lost with on Pipeline Problems, or lost to, I guess. He was rocking the GDI, and now it's going to be Steel Talons versus Black Hand. There's a couple of you folks in the audience who love yourself some Steel Talons play. And here you go. We've gotten a lot of the factions. We missed Reaper 17, and we've missed Zocom, and I think that's it. Now that we have Steel Talons, we've seen everything else but those two. Reaper 17, Zocom, still could potentially see them. We've got a couple of more games to go. Tournament Oasis. Always glad to see this map. It feels very similar to a number of other maps, but it has, like, it's just enough different, just enough breakup with, like, this high ground on the edge of the map being a little corridor you can sneak stuff through, the Tib spike placement, one of them being pretty central, blue Tiberium in the middle, and then these water features, and this little triangle that breaks up your natural expansion location. It forces attackers to come one way or the other, and those little breakups just make the map better than some of the other versions that are very, very similar. 3, 4, do we get a fourth? Do we get a fourth MRT? Bikey boy gives us a fourth MRT. I believe it's triple rockets and a rifleman. Pitbull may be packed along as well. And of course, with this, if we wanted to go full goofball mode, oh, okay, fifth MRT. He sold off the barracks, so I thought that was the end of it. But of course, the watchtower sell-off is just as good of a way to get a sneaky extra rifleman when you don't want to rebuild your barracks for it. Which I guess means that BikeRush Owns was like, yeah, 4 is enough. And then he's like, you know what? 5. I need a second rifleman squad. Because if he had thought that before, it would have been cheaper to just build it out of the barracks. But for one reason or another, you know, maybe he already had it queued because some other reason he didn't want to just cancel it. But Bikey gets the watchtower, adds a 5th MRT into the mix. No flying MRTs for now. Not yet. Hope springs eternal. It's a little bit like Purifying Flame for Blackhand. AP ammo on the way, by the way. 345. Pretty good timing for that command post and AP ammo. Skipping the 4th refinery for now, but you do get that tech out a little bit quicker. You get that upgrade started a little bit sooner. But flying MRTs are sort of the Purifying Flame of Steel Talons. It's like, we all want to see Purifying Flame. Obviously, a lot of players don't choose it because it just doesn't make sense for how many of the players choose to play the game. But if you are going for those flame weapons, Purifying Flame absolutely melts buildings. It melts them so incredibly fast that it is worth it if you are going for that kind of a strat. But, you know, if you're just going for the Black Disciples and a bunch of rocket squads, then no Purifying Flame also is fine, I guess. Pitbull sneaks by, just a single scouting Pitbull here on the left side. Orca Strike gets called in, so this is telegraphing a smidge over to Futurama. BikeRush Owns is like, hey, I have an airfield. Do you know what I'm building with it? Do you know that it's hammerheads? Do you know that I'm playing Steel Talons? So, you know, MRTs can be annoying. Flying MRTs are a delight to watch. And I'm just hoping BikeRush Owns is banking up a bunch of cash so that he can go flying MRTs. And instead, he's building hammerheads, which are much more practical, make a lot more sense. First wave of rockets gets sent out into the middle of the map. This is a huge mistake from Futurama. He is just asleep at the wheel, I guess. The middle of the map is a complete disaster for Futurama. Meanwhile, on the left and the right, it looks like he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage here and there. Cancels one of the refineries, kills a couple of the kills a couple of the Wolverines, not Warthogs. Playing too many other games as this war factory is now under threat. And of course, BikeRush Owns, his army through the middle of the map has continued pushing straight down. Wolverine gets sniped by the obelisk, and it's a attack all over the map, but it just doesn't matter. If BikeRush Owns is able to shut down this natural expansion, then this will be the end of the economy for Futurama. So BikeRush Owns needs to hold on to something somewhere else on the map, but he's already moving towards his third. And this is where the pressure point for Futurama becomes entirely his natural expansion, which is now left defenseless. And with no stealth on these harvesters, they are easy targets for these units. One more obelisk does deploy, but with Titans rocking up to this battle, the obelisk just doesn't last as long. GG comes out, and BikeRush Owns claims a 5th game and remains the king on top of the hill. It may be lonely at the top, but it also means you've always got a friend to play against, because when it's king of the hill, the man who's on the top never gets a rest. And right now, that man is BikeRush Owns, playing the red and returning to vanilla GDI. Meanwhile, the Traveler 15-9 on the left side, playing green, going stasis. It's Masterleaf, looking to knock BikeRush down off his perch and settle out this series with not just letting BikeRush Owns take everything. Fast Legs have finished up, and once again, we can have a Masterleaf opening that is not boring. It may not be good, it may not be a smart thing to do, but at least it's not boring. 1 minute, 15 seconds. We're getting action on the board. We're getting fights happening, and these descents are rushing across the map looking for whatever they can. There's an engineer packed along as well. This engineer, I believe, is just going to try and steal this Tib Spike. Hey, are there... Oh my gosh, this is the fastest hammerhead I've ever seen in my life. That hammerhead is so fast. He's looking for those descents, and this spells disaster for these disintegrators, but not for the engineer. If it remains undetected, then that means that Masterleaf will be able to steal that Tib Spike. Hey now, it is undetected for now. Sneaky boy Masterleaf gets himself a Tib Spike. He may not be the king of winning games, but he's the king of entertaining openers at the very least. He's got himself some fast leg descents, a fast engineer, and that's one thing that cybernetic legs and fast legs, advanced articulators, have in common between Traveler 59 and Marked of Kane. Those upgrades, Masterleaf loves them. He is an infantry player more so than a lot of other folks who play the game. He mixes in infantry that most of the players ignore. He utilizes infantry more than most other players do, and it's one of those things that makes him entertaining. Although, as you've seen in this King of the Hill, it doesn't always win him the game. One single hammerhead out of that airfield and then sold it off, and it looks like he sold off the command post as well. He got the upgrade on the power plant, he got that additional power online, and then he sold off the command post, sold off the airfield, and he has that perfect unkillable by Skrin early game infantry unit of the hammerhead. Essentially perfect scouting. Anywhere he wants to go, he can see it. A couple of gunwalkers, a couple of seeker tanks are not going to kill that hammerhead super quick, and so you almost always will be able to escape for the first, I don't know, 6 minutes of the game. You will be able to escape with this hammerhead, use it for scouting, see virtually everything that you want to see on the map. Masterleaf with 3 Tiberium spikes is going to be feeling pretty good about himself. I assume there was an engineer inside of that. I assume there was an engineer inside of one of these APCs. No barracks coming up. All right, so BikeRush is not retaking his Tib Spike anytime soon. AP ammo, about a quarter of the way done. Bit slower, perhaps, than the last game. Descents once again getting hunted down. And, well, this hammerhead has taken some damage, but he's still a viable scout for the next minute or so. Harvester heading back. This guy almost certainly was not worth it considering how much damage... Oh, he hasn't taken that much damage. Considering he's only got half a load of blue Tiberium, and he got chased away by the aggression of Masterleaf. All right, Leafy, what are you guys fast-teching? He's one base tier 3. Oh, man, he's going Mechapedes. I don't know that this is the game for Mechapedes. BikeRush is not sitting back and letting this happen. He's going super aggro as AP ammo finishes up. BikeRush crosses the map, and he says, hey, let's tango. You want to fight? I'm ready to fight. Mechapedes are going to have to contend with these mines. They got a couple of hammerheads dealing with them as well. He's going Warp Chasm off of one base. Masterleaf just choosing to do things that no one else really would. 5 minutes and 4 seconds. That hammerhead is now gone. Stealth reveal is here. There's the slow field to keep these units off, away from the warp chasm for a little bit longer. Engineer might be able to sneak out. Nothing is constructing, and it looks like this Eradicator Hexapod is, I guess, gonna finish just fine. There must have been an engineer hidden around the back or something, because it's back up to full health and back down below half. Eradicator Hexapod finishes up. Masterleaf, he is here for the late game at 5 minutes. He's got his epic unit running around. Rocket squads directly onto the front line. Triple watchtower as well. 3 units on the side of Masterleaf. 1 Eradicator Hexapod and 2 Mechapedes. Shock Troopers don't even get inside of the Eradicator, but Masterleaf will hold his ground, not with economy, not with a natural expansion, but just with an Eradicator Hexapod. And BikeRush Owens is not backing off. He brought his MCV to the fight, and he's dropping double barracks on the front line to try and keep this fight going. Instant snipe on the Grenadiers. No EMP for you, as BikeRush Owens is going to have to play a slightly different angle to make this work. War Factory onto the front line. If Masterleaf can knock that down, he can potentially dislodge this attack. Grenadier is here. He does have EMP grenades, so BikeRush Owens did manage to sneak out that upgrade, and Masterleaf still basically has 3 units out on the map. He's got a bunch of buzzer hives, he's got a bunch of buzzers, but he's only really got 3 units out here. EMP lands. Eradicator Hexapod is being swarmed. One of the Mechapedes goes down, the second one down to basically 0 segments, and a Devastator warship up above everything. If Masterleaf would have had 1 to 2 more minutes to get this going, he probably would have had a shot at holding off this attack. But as it stands, his economy has pretty much flatlined, and he is struggling to keep any of his units or buildings around against all this aggression from BikeRush Owens. Attack after attack comes through. The tier 3 gets targeted down. Everything's basically dead for Masterleaf, and BikeRush Owens has the cleanup to do, but not much more than that. If there was a wormhole to allow Masterleaf to escape to the other side of the map with a army of engineers swarming over here, capturing everything, allowing his Eradicator Hexapod to cheat to the other side of the map, maybe there's something that could happen there. But it's a difficult thing to try and pull out a win from this position. Corruptors are here. Okay, Cultists. Cultists are one way that you could pull out a win here if you are Masterleaf. That was another thing, is no Prodigy from Masterleaf. He lost the tier 3, so now he's going to have to try and, I don't know if he can even rebuild it. That doesn't really seem practical at this point. Grenadiers, do they do anything? Okay, no, they basically just die. And Masterleaf grabs another Grenadier squad, and instantly they get deleted once again, but they do not EMP anything of Masterleaf's. Those Cultists are the one real hope that Masterleaf has. BikeRush Owens has chewed through pretty much all of his natural expansion. He's only 12 grand up in terms of total resources gathered. I'm guessing the Ichor Seed helped out a bit for Masterleaf, and having the triple Tib Spike as well does help quite a bit. BikeRush Owens has not killed either of these Tib Spikes, nor has he captured them. He thought the game was going to end, and those sorts of moves were not on his radar. They were not in his mind. And those Grenadiers, well, there's not much in their mind either. They get taken over by the Cultists and eliminated by Bike's own team. Corruptors, they're going to be able to keep this Eradicator Hexapod alive, and BikeRush Owens committing to this tier 1 attack. This basic unit army attack means that he wasn't actually able to punch through. The Eradicator Hexapod did somehow hold the line. In an incredible turn of events, Masterleaf now actually has a shot in this game. BikeRush Owens put so much into that attack, and now he's having to back off. And of course, BikeRush Owens is certainly not out of it, not by any stretch, but Masterleaf has bought himself a second chance in this game. BikeRush Owens, just like on Tiberium Rift, has said, well, if we can't fight right through the front door, let's go through the back. Let's go for the undefended nether region of the motherland. And, well, General Krukov may not be here, but BikeRush Owens is channeling his spirit as he is going for that backstab once again. It worked last time, and it looks like it's going to work again here. Masterleaf cannot defend 2 fronts at once. The best he can do is plasma missile batteries and cultists. But if those 2 things don't work, the Eradicator Hexapod is not going to abandon the front line to try and stop that attack. Hammerhead's showing up. I'm not sure where they're going. Okay, they're just cultist hunting. It will claim both of the hammerheads, but he did get the cultist squad on the ground there. Another cultist squad claiming a kill in the north. BikeRush owns. The cultists are sort of the, ooh, sneaky boy Masterleaf. If he gets that harvester... Oh, no, never mind. Cultists get sniped by the hammerheads. I don't think that harvester was supposed to be there. I think that harvester got got selected incorrectly or got rallied from a war factory in the wrong direction, basically. BikeRush owns transitioned entirely. He's got like virtually no production because he sold off so much to make that push happen, and then the push didn't actually kill Masterleaf. It came extremely close to killing Masterleaf, and yet it didn't actually kill him. And so BikeRush sold off so much of his production back at home, and now he's just rebuilding at the third base. And he's like, well, the third base is where the economy is at, and that is where I'm going to be going for the next couple of minutes. BikeRush up 20,000 credits. Total resources gathered. So he's got quite a bit more in the bank. But Masterleaf, with his 1, 2, 3 units, has not been playing a big army game. He has been playing an efficiency game this entire time. So not a big surprise that BikeRush has harvested more than Masterleaf, but he's also lost more probably in terms of units because this Eradicator Hexapod is so efficient. Teleportation needs to come in as soon as the EMP wears off. Masterleaf needs to get this Eradicator Hexapod out of here. I don't know if he's got some kind of support power that can save it in the last second, but no, he does not. It does not get saved, and BikeRush gets the kill that he's been looking for. The linchpin of the defense of Masterleaf has been removed, and Masterleaf is now considerably weaker on the army front than he was mere moments ago. If he wants that Eradicator back, he's got to rebuild his tier 3. He's got to re-tech to his warp chasm, and he won't even try. BikeRush gets pushed back, but gets the win in the end anyways. The catch with the EMP was the killer move. Leaf never rebuilt that tech, never got his famous prodigy that he is so good with, that saves that Eradicator, that allows it to blink around the map. He never had it, and he loses the game. BikeRush claims a 6th win. We're back on Tournament Highlands. We're repeating maps, but we're not repeating matchups on those maps. Registering as Traveler 59, give it up for BikeRush. And on the left side, as the Cyan Blackhand, it's Futurama. Actually got the faction correct that time. I didn't call him Marked of Kane for no reason at all. BikeRush opens up with no fast leg descents. Boring. Boo. Do something dumb. But we will get to see the straightforward macro play of Traveler 59. It could still very much be a one base fast tech. That is certainly not uncommon from Scrin players, so anything is possible. Futurama might be looking to play a little bit aggressive. BikeRush is looking in good form on the day when these were played, so you don't necessarily want to let him sit back and just do whatever he wants. Anti-Scout was pretty good, and BikeRush is going to see the second flame tank, so he should know that there's a first flame tank already out. He can kind of assume that based on the fact that there is a second flame tank, and that there is nothing else in the base. There's no additional refinery that would indicate that this is a delayed flame rush or anything like that. 3 flame tanks at least out on the map, skipping around and looking for those targets. 1 flame tank in the middle. Oh, and there's the sell-off of the operations center. So it's 3 or 4 flame tanks in total that do have to be tracked down by BikeRush. 1 in the middle of the map, One was there in the north. Perhaps he got sent back for repairs. Nope, that's not one over there, but there is one in the south moving into the natural expansion. One flame tank down for sure. Other flame tanks not here yet, but he does get spotted, I believe, by those disintegrators. And unfortunately for Futurama, it doesn't look like he's going to get the big payday that he was looking for. Ooh, this flame tank gets spotted. So sometimes you can get the timing of the refinery just right on the natural expansion, and the flame tank will move in just as the refinery gets deployed, and it will basically get a free kill on the refinery because the player won't be expecting it. In this case, it's 2 out of 3 flame tanks down, 3 out of 3 flame tanks down, and not a lot was gained for it by Futurama. An unfortunate, aggressive opening that has put Futurama's economy about 6,000 credits behind. His one consolation prize might be that he gets the Tiberium spike there towards the middle of the map. Unfortunately, it looks like the Gunwalker killed the Black Hand Squad, so there is no kill on the second Tib spike for Futurama. He eliminated one, but he doesn't get the other. So his 6-7K behind in total resources gathered, it's not going to have an easy path back to equality with BikeRush owns. We'll see. Futurama may still be able to pull something out despite the difficult opening that he has suffered. I do appreciate that he was going for something aggressive. He wasn't just going to sit back and take it. And BikeRush owns is looking to knock down at least one of the Tiberium spikes of Futurama as a return of the favor from earlier. Black Disciples being upgraded. Purifying Flame almost certainly will not. But we can always hope that he's going to build a second secret shrine, even though he just sold off his first one, and get himself some Purifying Flame. Tip Spike in the south getting eliminated. Cultists grabbing a Harvester and forcing Futurama to kill his own units. The Cultists will be getting run down in the middle of the map by a couple of Raider buggies. But guess what? Cultists have friends. They don't run alone. It's one of the traits of their kind. And so, 2 more units to the side of BikeRush owns. Futurama not looking good here in game number 8. I lost count. I think this is game number 8 in total. Futurama not looking good for this opening to transition into a good game after that flame tank rush. Wormhole, Prodigy, and there's going to be the area mind control on the MCV, and BikeRush owns, adding insult to injury here, will be able to sell off that MCV before it goes back to Futurama. And, well, all of the Harvesters get nabbed as well. There's the sell-off of the MCV, and there's actually going to be a Buzzer Hive as well, just to help break up this area. The GG comes out, and BikeRush owns, well, he was ahead in every way. When a flame tank rush goes bad, you have to have perfect defense after that. And unfortunately, Futurama was not able to hold that down. So that will be another win for BikeRush owns. We're back to Hamstead Gardens for game number 9 of this series. There's only one more match after this, and then we're all out of money for the event. 10 games, win or lose, the score doesn't matter. We will get our matches. In the north, playing the Traveler 59, it's Masterleaf. In the south, playing the Red Nod, it's BikeRush owns. Bikey Boy getting his payday. $90, I think, is what we are up to. Something like that. We might be up to 105. Yeah, I think it's 105, not 90. Warp Sphere is out as Masterleaf is not opening fast leg descents. Switching it up by going for a very normal and straightforward build, not going for something that is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more in your face. He's instead just going for stock standard, right down the middle, macro-oriented play here on Hamstead Gardens, hoping that a more late-game orientation will serve him better. To be fair, on Toxicity, he had a very good chance at taking that game, and if that Eradicator Hexapod had not been caught out with the EMP, or if he had managed to sneak out a Prodigy, there could have been a chance for him to take that game and continue the dance towards the end of the series. But in this case, BikeRush was able to win that, so cooling off of the aggression, Masterleaf has chosen more straight down the middle of a build. Well, no luck for those scouts, although they already did a pretty good job of scouting everything out. They do eventually get cleaned up by that buzzer. Buggy scout here to confirm. Both players keeping an eye on each other. Buzzers near the natural expansion of BikeRush. They're just going to kind of see exactly what everyone is up to. Seeker tanks will tag that buggy. BikeRush and Masterleaf settling in to a classic Nod v Traveler 59. These two players, throughout the years of Kane's Wrath, have played a ton of games against each other, and these two factions are some of their most played. Blackhand might beat out Nod for BikeRush in terms of total games played, especially versus Masterleaf, but Masterleaf undoubtedly has the most games on Traveler 59, especially versus BikeRush more than anything else. Harvester goes down. We saw, I don't know, 20 seconds ago or something. Nerve Center will be the follow-up. So once again, this 1.5 base tech. BikeRush on the other hand, not going for an operations center. He goes for a war factory after his third refinery. Seeker tanks poking and prodding. Just going to be hoping to trade out against those Scorpions and Buggies. Scorp Buggy is a very popular combination for a reason. It's one of the stock standard Nod unit comps versus Scrin for good reason. And we see here, the Buggies are helping to chase down these Seekers, kind of trading back and forth on that. And what will be the follow-up from Masterleaf? He is now getting scouted. So BikeRush is going to see everything that Masterleaf is up to here at the natural expansion. And as the Scorpion tanks roll in, we're going to need something to deal with this. Masterleaf once again went fast tech. 1.5 base into Mechapeds. Slightly more economy than the last game, but mind drop on top of the Harvesters. And fortunately, they are... I literally didn't even get to finish what I was saying before it was undone. And the Prodigy is a big shot there. Masterleaf taking massive damage at his natural expansion. Forced to drop a storm column as well. Delay on the second refinery at the natural. And BikeRush escapes with his Scorpion tanks. The GG comes out. And that was a rough fight at the natural expansion. Masterleaf just needs 1 to 2 more minutes is the theme of these games. He's going for these builds, but because Bike is playing as aggressive as he is, Masterleaf doesn't have the time to get fully prepared before Bike rocks up and does the damage. And just like that, it's game number 10 of this King of the Hill. The current king sitting on top of the hill playing Blackhand. This is BikeRush. Looking to challenge for the last time on the left side, playing Cyan, playing GDI, it's Futurama. hoping against hope to change the story in the last game. Tournament Savannah, not one of these maps that I have seen very much at all. Reminds me a little bit of Tournament Airstrip, but not in terms of actual map design and layout. Just visually, it does remind me a little bit of Tournament Airstrip. So, 8 games to BikeRush owns. He's looking to make it 9. 1 game to Futurama. He's looking to make it 2. BikeRush owns currently sitting at $120, looking to close in on $135 of the $150 prize pool donated by MediaStorm. Big, huge thanks to MediaStorm for supporting this King of the Hill, for sponsoring this show match. Riflemen heading in. They get sniped by those Cabal. MCV heading south. BikeRush owns. No tricks up his sleeve yet. We'll see if this is a real expansion or if this is actually just an MCV move. And then Operations Center, flame, 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 flame. For right now, BikeRush owns is not looking to end game number 10 in an extremely quick fashion. No double MCV, or no double War Factory MCV sell all in. No kookiness just yet. This building pretty slow. It might just be a refinery. It might be straight up macro play from BikeRush owns. Blue Tiberium getting stolen in the north. Bike is down 3K almost in total resources gathered. I'm not sure actually why he is that far behind. He should be a little bit closer to Futurama, but I think that's about to even up. Refineries on the natural expansion. Blue Tiberium Harvester going to be getting shut down. BikeRush owns making some mistakes here. He's going to try and trade out with these pit bulls, do as much damage to them as he possibly can. And, oh, that rocket I thought was going to go for the Harvester. It did not. As Futurama has stabilized onto his natural expansion, BikeRush owns has added a second War Factory on to his. Pit bulls, I was kind of hoping they were going to dive back on top of this Harvester to make the Harvester not only a bad move in terms of how far it has to drive to get to that Blue Tiberium and back, but then to also kill the Harvester before it can actually refine any of that Blue Tiberium. No such luck for Futurama. Unfortunately, he was not able to kill that Harvester. That would have been a great benefit to Futurama and a nice kick in the head to BikeRush owns. Would have given Futurama a little bit of a morale victory. I said it wrong twice in a way that doesn't make any sense. It would have been a morale boost for Futurama, so that he gets like the little win, you know, killing that Blue Tiberium Harvester would have been a little victory within this game, even though he has lost to BikeRush owns several times in this series already. He would have started out on a strong foot here in the last game of this show match. Decoy bikes are here to absorb some of those shots. Always depends on if you have units with fast rates of fire, whether or not those decoy armies do very much at all. Harvesters are heading back for that Blue Tiberium, but what's also heading north? Flame tanks. BikeRush owns. He can't stay away from the flames. Can he get Purifying Flame, though? Well, he's going multi-MCV. It's a life that we all live sooner or later. Tier 3 is up. Bike Buggy is swarming around the map. And is this another fake-out flame tank in the north? Or is BikeRush owns really going to be going for some flame shenanigans? Well, we see 2 flame tanks at least. There's a secret shrine. We don't have Black Disciples yet. We can always hope against hope, dream all day that it will be Purifying Flame. Third field in the middle of the map, a feature from maps of old, like Tournament Rift. Some of these official maps that shipped with the game would feature this 1-2 Tiberium fields per player, and then a third contested Tiberium field in the middle of the map. I'm glad to see a little bit of that motif coming back. It is nice to have a variety in the maps, and we do have lots of pain potentially headed the way of Futurama with double flame tank in the north. Obelisk and Spectre already gunning down those juggernauts, and Futurama is going to have to fight for his life here on the front line. Predator tanks are here, as are APCs, but flame tanks are about to stab him in the back, burn him down, and the harvesters have spotted it. Sells off one of the buildings. Rifleman is here as well. Tier 3 is vulnerable. Tier 2 as well. Purifying Flame would melt these buildings as fast as a double flame tank does. Goodbye, Juggernauts. Goodbye, anti-air. Goodbye, tech of Futurama. His army descends upon these flame tanks. The damage has been done. Nerfing the tech of Futurama was the big play for BikeRush owns. He has slowed down this front line, but the Juggernauts are already here. Can Futurama keep this pushing forward? It doesn't matter if you kill the tech. If the army survives, then there's nothing that BikeRush owns can do to stop it. Redeemer is now out. The dance will begin. Rage Gen again and again and again. A little bit here and a little bit there. Decoy army Spectres onto the left side of the map, trying to scout as Futurama gets nuked in the south. Beacons getting called. Futurama, ooh. It looks like there might have been a bug or something that happened where something died or didn't die that should have died. Futurama, he gets his tech reset, but he pushes BikeRush owns back on the front line. And Futurama, he's got his front line locked down, but can he do anything beyond that? Or does he just have to wait for BikeRush owns to come to him? Juggernauts are a powerful tool, and Futurama's economy has pretty much flatlined. Fortunately, he had a decent amount of cash in the bank, and there's the refinery onto the front line. It's a long drive for some of these harvesters to go back to those original main base refineries, but at least it keeps his income alive. Redeemer on the front line, double engineer, Rage Gen fires off. A lot of these units have already been given their attack command, so the Redeemer is just going to take a bunch of damage. A couple of riflemen will go down, a couple of Juggernauts taking some minor damage. Harvesters onto the front line. It's a mass harvester migration, but it's not going to do very much. It'll destroy a couple of Tiberium crystals, and one harvester will go down. Rifleman squads moving in on the south. They get eliminated. BikeRush owns not much to worry about on the infantry front. Plain Jane GDI infantry, no upgrades, are not anything against the fully upgraded, stacked, locked, and loaded infantry of Blackhand. When you got Black Disciples, when you got charged particle beams, you are living the good life as Blackhand. Another flame tank rolls through, another refinery goes down, upgraded power plant as well, adding insult to injury as Futurama comes desperately close to that low power mode. With the front line crumbling, these watchtowers are going to be eliminated. Suppressed infantry will take massive damage from any Juggernaut shots that manage to land as the APCs move forward. The Predator tanks as well. No upgrades for these tanks in the late game, but they're going to be going for the crush because the treads don't need upgrades as the Rage Gen fires off and Futurama washes over the army of BikeRush owns. It might be the last stand for BikeRush owns as the Spectres are set upon. The Redeemer retreats from the front line, healthy as ever, but looking to crush this Tier 1 army. Futurama may have gone too deep, but he shut down the entire infantry horde of BikeRush owns. The rocket squads have been eliminated. Their threat has been neutralized. The MCV getting pulled apart on the front line as the Juggernaut shots just don't miss. The Predator tanks go deep, looking for that final kill, and the GG comes out. And Futurama does it, snagging a second win in this series, getting one against Masterleaf and one against BikeRush Owns right at the end. I didn't actually see that at first, but BikeRush Owns sold off all of his production heading into that last push, so he had literally nothing left but the Redeemer after that. So congratulations to Futurama for getting the win versus BikeRush there in game number 10. And that will do it for this video, for this series. Big thank you to Masterleaf, Futurama, and BikeRush Owns for playing in this 10-game King of the Hill. Huge thanks to MediaStorm for the sponsorship, hooking up the channel with $150 to put this event on. And of course, a big thanks to you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is Sybert, signing out.